Good morning, Magic. I'm Gavin Verhey from Wizards of the Coast, and Double Masters is full of a bunch of exciting Mythic rares. And I thought, what do these cards used to do? So I looked it up, talked to a few folks, and today I'm going to walk you through 10 Mythic rares and what they originally did in design. Let's get to it. Atraxa. This card was created by Ali Steele, and I actually reached out to her to find out how the card was made. It started off as Ace, Voice of Action, a nice playtest name. It was an angel that helped out your creatures by proliferating. And it was so good, in fact, at helping your creatures out that you could pay 3 mana to proliferate. Instead of happening at the end of your turn, you could just pay 3 mana to proliferate and do that as many times as you wanted. That would have been nuts. Sword of Fire and Ice. Very late in Darksteel development, the equip cost on this and its sibling, Sword of Light and Shadow, was changed from 3 to 2. Trinisphere, or 3-sphere some players call it. Turns out it was originally more like 4-sphere. It cost 4 to cast and made everything cost 4. Jace the Mind Sculptor was a very important card for Worldwig and went through a ton of changes. But 2 that I'll mention here is that its first ability was originally milling a player for 2 cards instead, definitely weaker than its current version, which Fate Seals or Scries. And the ultimate was pretty wild. It was choose a number, each player draws that many cards. Force of Will originally had the playtest name Stop Spell, very cute, and it didn't cost the 1 life to cast. So to balance it, of course, they added the pay 1 life. Okay, time out for a second. Can we talk about something? Force of Will is part of a pitch card cycle, 5 cards that do this. And it and Contagion both require you to pay 1 life as an additional cost to cast it. Sure. But also in the cycle are Scars of the Veteran, Bounty of the Hunt, and Pyrokinesis, none of which require you to pay 1 life. So it was decided that the difference between Bounty of the Hunt, which gives a creature +3/+3, and Force of Will, which counters the spell, was 1 life to make it fair. Things were a little different back then, I think. Ah yes, the mysterious case of the Shrinking Geist of Saint Traft. It was originally a 4 mana creature that made a 6/6 angel when it attacked. Then it turned into a 3 mana creature that made a 5/5 angel, before finally settling on the 3 mana creature that made a 4/4 angel, as it does today. Sword of War and Peace. Now this card went through a bunch of iterations, and originally what it did is it shattered an artifact and demystified an enchantment. But that wasn't really seen as sword-like and mythic enough, so it was decided to try out a bunch of other things, some of which were very splashy, including the Blinding Angel text of making your opponent skip their next combat step when you hit them, which was pretty brutal. Brea. When you're designing a 4-color card that's also an artifact, you have a lot of options and knobs you can turn. And in this case, one that was turned was its ability which dealt damage originally drew you a card. I'm actually happier with the damage dealing ability. I don't think it's as powerful, but I really like that it helps end the game and kill off planeswalkers to boot. Karin Liberated went through a bunch of numbers and loyalty changes, but perhaps one of the biggest changes to this set of abilities is that its first ability originally exiled the top 2 cards of target player's library. Alright, next up is Vengevine, and this one is a little bit wonky. I think it's been told before that Vengevine changed pretty late in design, but not exactly what the original design was. It was a creature that entered the battlefield with a root counter. Makes sense. Every upkeep you get another root counter, still following, but here's where it gets a little bit wonky. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of root counters on it squared. It would be the first card to reference squaring its power and toughness, and it was decided that might be a little bit too much and a little bit too hard to figure out, so it was scrapped. If you enjoyed learning about all this, please subscribe. It would really mean a lot and helps grow the channel. Plus, you'll never miss another episode. And speaking of other episodes, I have over 50 episodes now you can go watch, chock full of interesting information on how we make magic. I'll talk with you again on Monday when I get to preview a Double Masters card. Very exciting. Until then, may your cards do exactly what you want them to. You got this.